How is everybody today? Welcome, everybody. It always takes a couple of seconds for everything to float through. So if you're here, feel free to drop a comment. I am just doing my admin. How are you guys? Oh, it's quiet at the start is always fun. It's very warm here today. Oh, geez, it's taken its time today. Oh. Hello, everybody. Please feel free to drop a comment. Finally. Internet was laggy a little bit, I think, there. Hey, guys. Welcome to my live feed today. Feel free to drop a comment if you would like a reading. Otherwise, feel free to say hi. As usual, reading with my Elizabeth deck. So I am just waiting for the comments to come through. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Kylie. Always takes a second. Sit here in awkward silence. I'm just sharing as well while I was waiting. How is everybody today? Oh, it's a quiet start. What's in store for me for 2026? That is way too big of a question to ask for a live feed, but I'm definitely happy to pull you a couple of cards to see what comes up for you. Let's have a look, Nicole. Nice. You know what? It's cards that I would expect on a question like that. And I kept your question in mind. But when I sit with your energy, you've got the Where Are You card, you've got the Healing card, and you've also got the Answers Are Blowing in the Wind card. So when you think about it in the context of where the year ahead is, this card here specifically talks about reflecting on where we're at. Like, is everything around you right now, if this is the way it was forever, is that enough? What are those things that you keep coming back to? You know, so when we think about it, reflecting on a lifelong, well, it is a lifelong, but a year-long kind of journey that's there, kind of being pulled to do it towards that. When we think about the healing, it's an easy thing to come to. Oh, let the healing in, you know, da, 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 da. But healing is probably one of the most difficult things that we can face because it involves a lot of forgiveness and a lot of release and a lot of self-awareness and all of those kind of little bits and pieces just to allow things to let them be. And so, you know, when we think about that, the answers are blowing in the winter, okay? And so it's about moving forward and not having all of the answers that we want. Be adventurous, you know, seek adventure, be playful, whimsical, all those things that I'm always repeating that's there around with you, Nicole. But things feel like agitated when I sit into your energy, you know. And so when I do sit with you, I do want to say that with you. Reflect, just sit back and see where things are at the moment. And I know that it bugs the shit out of me when I talk about sort of, you know, sit back, reflect, da, 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 because I know it can come off as a little bit cliche. But think about that agitation. Think about the things that you keep coming back to. Think about the shifts that want to be made, okay? Because I feel like you're the person that's in your way. And I say that respectfully because obviously other people can come into that energy, but it's you, the compassion, the loyalty, and everything else that gets in the way there. It's you that's in your way. So a little bit to reflect on, and I hope that helps, Nicole. All right, finally, things are starting to shuffle. It's been it always takes a couple of minutes for things to come through. So welcome, everybody. Nice to see you here. Hey, Beverly. Hey, Asley. Carly. Sprinkle, hello, hello, hello. Please feel free to drop a comment. I will catch up on a couple of them here. Aslay, I am happy to pull a couple of cards for you. So guys, as I do so, please feel free to repeat your question if I do miss you on the first one. All right, Aslay, let's have a look. And so when I sit into your energy there, I want to say to you, you've got the changes card, you've got the making commitment to move forward, oops, and you've also got the take 5 card there. But when I sit into your energy, I'm reflected in very much in and around your work side of things, okay? And it's not that I want to say that things are going to change whether you like them or not. I want to say to you, sort of sit back with your change. It feels like, you know, when we do a job and we bring in all of these skills, and it's not until we sit back and actually think about how much extra skills that we've brought in. You know, keep it simple. We think that we work on a cash register, so therefore our skill pertains to a cash register. But when you think about, you know, the problem solving skills, the people management skills, the packing skills, the, you know, everything else that comes into that role, it's so much more than simply just using a cash register. And I feel like that's an energy around with you. And so, you know, I almost want to sort of give you a pat on the back and pump you up a little bit and just say, have a think about where you're at and where it is that you want to go, because I feel like you've pulled everything around you that you actually need. It's just a matter of putting it in all into place so it makes sense and allowing you to move forward, okay? It feels like you keep coming into the same financial halts, and I feel like this is the energy that's going to shift it out for you, okay? So I'll leave that there with you, and I hope that it helps. All right. Can you have one card, please? I'm quite a literal person, so I am going to pull you just one card. Okay. Could be a reason why you want just one card, so I'm going to do that. Let me have a look and see, Carly. Let's have a look. What card do you need? This one. Bigger picture. Bigger picture. This card talks about making decisions for the long term, not for today. Don't make decisions that are easier for today because they'll kick you up the ass tomorrow, okay? This card generally comes up when it is time to knuckle down a little bit, okay? Making easier decisions. And so thinking about where we live, what we work, what relationships we have, all lots of different things can come into play with this card, all right? But bigger picture, making decisions for tomorrow instead of the easy ones for today. I feel like with you, that's coming back to friendships, and I also feel like it comes back to habits, self-discipline, things that you want to do for yourself that you kind of give a shot to and then have excuses in our head around it. And I say in ours because we all do it, okay? So it's time to shift them out of the way. Hope that helps. All right, I'm going to catch up with the comments. Nice. Okay, I can see them starting to come through a little bit faster now. So guys, thank you very much for joining me today. I am here for an hour doing some readings. And so if you would like to have a reading with me, all I ask is that you do follow my page or my channel for whichever you're watching from. Other than that, please feel free to comment more than once if you see me catch up to the comments. It means that I have skipped down. Please don't smash the page with them, but definitely feel free to comment more than once. And I will just throw in, as I begin to start now, I have 2 more spots left for the reading day tomorrow. So that is for an online 30-minute reading via Zoom, and it is at a reduced price of $75 just for tomorrow only. And I have 2 spots left. So if anybody would like those, I do believe, pardon me, it's 12 and 12:30. So otherwise, send me a text message on my mobile 0400 819 033. Oh my God, I'm choking. All right. Sharon, I gotcha. Sharon Parker, I'm really desperate for a card reading, please. Let's have a look and see. I want to say to you, Sharon, take a breath. This energy is going to clear quicker than what you expected it to. And I feel like it has a positive resolution around it, okay? I keep seeing you just sort of standing there going, oh, thank God. Pardon me. But yeah, let me just pull you a couple of cards. Nice. You got the self-care card there, okay? It talks about truth, awareness, and honor, and all of those lovely things. You've got the dead end card, which talks about a way not working. And you've got the be positive card, which talks about your attitude being a choice. Now, when I sit with your energy within that, okay, the self-care card, talking about truth, honor, and awareness, and the dead end card that's there, all right? I want to say to you, let it go. And I also want to say to you that if somebody else has let you down, to go, oh, sense of relief that comes into play, all right? The talks about your attitude is a choice, and they can say harsh element. All right. Hopefully I'm back on. I think that my internet's not playing with me at the moment, perhaps due to this heat outside. Ah, there we go. Okay. I'm going to see how I go, guys. If the internet keeps lagging in around with me, I will cut this one short and I will jump back on a little bit later. I don't want to muck people around trying to do a live feed. So, Sharon, I was reading for you and I still have your cards here with me, okay? So, talking about the self-care card, as I said, I just want to go back a little bit so I make sure I don't catch myself. The truth, the honor, and the awareness, the dead end card that's there. So, when we talk about the attitude choice, as I said, it's about taking the positive things from things that can be construed as negative. For example, a hot day with internet snaking around, we can sit back and go, oh my God, it's so hot. Or we can sit back and appreciate the sunshine, appreciate the fact that, my vegetables out the back are getting their 8 hours of sunshine that they need. It's about our attitude and the way that we approach things with it, all right? I don't want to imply in any way, shape, or form that your attitude is actually impacting this situation that's there. I feel like it's an obligation that comes into play that then gets released, all right? And so I want to leave that there with you, Sharon. Sorry for the disruption, and I hope that helps. I am back. As I said, my internet, I fear, is lagging, and it's funny because I've kind of felt that from the start. It took a couple of seconds for the comments to kick in, a little bit longer than normal and things. And so I might just keep an eye on the time and do a shorter one here and then a longer one a little bit later, because I've got a sneaking suspicion that this heat is having a little bit of an impact on the internet here today. All right. Shana Lee Davis, hi. I would love a reading and some guidance on what's going to happen next. Let's have a look. No, so I want to say you're actually not going to really like what happens next, okay? But leave that thought there for a second, because you've got the healing card there, which talks about being patient but allowing the healing to come in. You've got the confrontation card here, okay, which talks about confronting your own fears. And you've got the alarm bells there, which talks about it's time, it, and you feel it. And this is where I say I don't necessarily feel like you're going to enjoy that process in the immediate, okay? And that's where I say but. Because that healing and that confronting fears, it feels like it's a situation that's going to unfold the way that you're already expecting it to, okay? I almost want to be cheeky with you and go that hope almost, it needs to be released. I see it released like, helium balloons off into the light. There's an awareness that's here with that, and I just feel like an acceptance will come into play with it. This is a really actual positive time for you, okay? I know it may not feel like that, but I also want to say you're a little bit stubborn and sometimes need to be dragged by your heels kicking and screaming, and it's one of those times. But on the other side of that, there's actually a lot of release and a lot of freedom and a lot of movement forward. I feel like there's an energy that's sort of suppressing you at the moment, not letting you step into what you really want to be, where you really want to go, and what you really want to do. And that's going to be taken away from you, that pressure, okay? And as I said, it's almost whether you like it or not. And I don't feel that you're going to like it at first, but trust me, you'll appreciate it later. I hope that helps. All right, so I had a little bit of a blackout there, guys, with the internet. So thank you for your patience. And I am going to stick around for at least another 15 minutes and see how the internet's going. If it doesn't lag again, I'll keep going. If it does, I will call it on there and do another one later. All right, let's have a look. Louisa would love a reading, please. Sure. Louisa. Nice. Okay. When I sit with your cards, you've got, for the first card, 2 cards. So you've got the internal conflict and you've got the answers are blowing in the wind. You've got the sunset card and you've also got your goals are not impossible. So when I sit with this card and I reflect on your energy, the internal conflict, I feel I wanted to have a little bit of a giggle to myself because we get caught into our own head because we need to know everything. And that's such a natural human condition. However, I do feel like, again, the sunset, it talks about the end of an era, the end of a way of doing things that's there. And so it's almost like a little bit of like, should I, but what happens if I do it this way? And what happens if I do it this way? You know, I honestly, when I say that to you, I see you call just back to yourself, just taking a moment just to stop, take a breath, and just reflect on what those emotions are telling you, because I feel like you've already got the insight that you need. It's just you're letting all the logistics and all the sort of, infiltrate and catch in. That catch the rainbow. Your goals are not impossible. I put a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow there because it is that reminder that if we allow ourselves to keep moving forward, our goals may change, they may evolve, they may end up exactly the way that we wanted them to. But as long as we're moving forward, we're always in the right direction. And I think that that's sometimes just important to remember. It's like when I sit with clients in a clinical capacity, and say, for example, they've got a goal of losing 20 kilos. And they focus on that goal of 20 kilos. Rather, I encourage to break it down into, say, 4 sets of 5 kilos, because 5 kilos is a lot easier to attain. It gives a sense of achievement. It allows you to see what's working. It allows you to keep motivated. It's accomplishment. And I think sometimes we set ourselves such these big goals because we feel like so much is out of whack. But other times we just got to, start. If we want to clean the kitchen, start with the dishes. You know what I mean? So I hope that helps. All right, guys, thank you again for joining me today. If you're here, chuck me a thumbs or a heart. I always appreciate that. Going to do some readings. I'm reading with my Elizabeth deck, guys. So this is my deck that I read with. It's one that I created. When you do a reading with me, though, you will find that I work with energy and spirit, and will sit with pen and paper in hand and not cards. Speaking of my private readings, I have 2 more spots left tomorrow for the online reading day. So that's $75 for a 30-minute reading, which is a $25 discount, and you get to do it on Zoom. So send me a text on my phone, or WhatsApp is fine as well, 0400 819 033, if you would like to book one of those spots. You're very welcome. All right, Lee Murphy, I would love a read, please. So, guys, if you see me catch up to the bottom of the comments and I have missed your name, please feel free to comment again. It is difficult to read everyone in order, and so please feel free to comment more than once. All right, Lee, let me focus on you. Lee, I want to say pay attention to the things that need to be done. It's almost like a back energy, I'm trying to think of it. I'll give it to you how I see it. I see it like a slow burn, a back burn. It's like I've got paddocks all the way back, behind me, and it's all dry grass. And there's this tiny little fire that's there, and the fire itself isn't necessarily a concern. It's this big. However, I can choose to put it out, or I can go, I'm in the middle of doing this right now. I'll come back to that fire. The trouble is that fire's got a multitude of things that it can catch on and flare up. And so within that, I want to say to you, pay attention to the things that you know that you should be paying attention to. Okay, a small burn can very quickly turn into a big burn, and I feel like you need to be aware of that. Let me pull you some cards. Nice. Okay, so you've got the male card there, okay, which definitely talks about masculinity and partners and those type of things. But the representation truly of this card is about calling on your strength. So the feminine energy needs to come from within. The masculine energy is about that blood, sweat, and tears and toil of energy that's there. So you've got the moving on card, which talks about moving towards better things, but you need to be a bit more open to embracing the changes that they bring. And so I'll leave you with those sorts of reflection, and I hope that they help. Thank you very much for joining me today, Lee. All right. Donna Marie Beck would love a loved one, please, and thank you. You're very welcome. Let me have a look and see what the cards want to say. You know what, Donna, as soon as I'm sitting and I'm tuning into your cards, I get reminded to remind you that there's so much joy in friendship that will come out of friendships. And I get taken over this, like the next 3 months, that if you stay connected with your friends and allow yourself to enjoy moments with people and all of those kind of little bits and pieces, it's like answers and clarity start to arise out of them. It's almost like I want to say to you that big thing that's on your mind right now, you need to take it. You need to just sit it onto a little shelf, easier said than done, and allow yourself just to be, just to relax a little bit, and within that comes the clarity and the awareness. I've got thoughts coming into my head now that reminded me when I sat and studied at one point. We were talking about, we get out, I've got to finish this, we've got to finish this, and we sit, so determined to finish it. But sometimes when we just let things be, we just let go and let ourselves have a little bit of fun and just put things aside for a second. It's like, hang on a second, now I know what I need to do. Because our body and our mind isn't under all that pressure. We've got positive things releasing in our body instead of negative ones trying to support our survival, and so just, a little bit of food for thought there, Donna. But let me pull you a couple of cards. Okay, so when I sit with your cards, you got the Stay Connected card, which talks about staying connected to yourself. You got the External Conflict card, which talks about external forces by outside people or forces. And you've also got the Where Are You card that's there, okay? So when I sit with your energy, the Staying Connected card